and welcome to the Double D Wrestlecast. My name is Steve.
Rich.
And we are here to discuss our reactions to the Backlash pay-per-view. What a shocking main event ending. If you don't read on the betting odds, you will be shocked. But we'll start off with the kickoff match with the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger, against... This is how much I know him. I don't even know his full name. I need to look it up. Aiden English. Part of the Vaudevillains. But now he's supposedly sings a lot. But that was the kickoff match. And Rich, he watches NXT, so he's very familiar with the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. I think the first time I ever saw him was the Rumble. He was the number 10 entrant, of course.
Which was the line of the night. What did you say? What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds?
What was my answer to you?
1 in 30. That answer is correct. Again, it was a kickoff match. Not supposed to be spectacular. But again, I think it's a great win for Ty Dillinger. He obviously has a following. He has a crowd. Yep. And he has a Perfect 10 section. Supposedly, everyone takes the time, prints out all of those Perfect 10s, and brings it in. It is weird. It is weird how that works. Everyone has a section. Because we actually went to Monday Night Raw a few months ago.
Yeah.
Here in Vegas.
The Festival of Friendship.
The Festival of Friendship. We were there
on the TV,
to see it. And we were supposedly in the Cesaro section.
What do you mean?
I came in my seat. There was Cesaro already printed out.
What are you talking about? We were in the Cesaro section.
Absolute horseshit. But Ty Dillinger has a Perfect 10. What did you think? What's your take on Ty Dillinger?
A lot of potential. Right now, they're just getting him over, getting people used to him. I shouldn't say getting him over. They're getting people used to his technique, and they're letting the crowd reaction kind of speak for itself. It's a plus and minus, because some of that is what I worry about with Shinsuke, which we'll get to, which is the NXT followers, the more tuned in viewers are going to be loyal and they're going to cheer, but I don't want it to be just the high spots or the chant or the entrance be the only thing that we know him for. He needs some more talking points. He needs some actual feuds. Right now he's feuding because Aiden English has a bad character. And I don't know what that's doing for him either, which is something that I brought up. I didn't know what the Vaudevillains was supposed to be. I don't know what this crying, starving artist gimmick is. I don't see how that's doing anybody any favors, and beating him doesn't do any favors either. So.
And Ty Dillinger, after he won that match, he had as many pay-per-view victories as Jinder Mahal had going in to his WWE Championship match.
But as we discussed, Jinder's previous victories came as part of 3MB, so...
3MB.
Ty did it all by himself.
Yeah, there we go. Ty did it all by himself.
Just make sure that we maintain that.
And then let's go to the opening of the match, the highly anticipated WWE debut, since NXT supposedly does not exist. They made it sound like it's his debut, and he's been wrestling NXT for how long? Over a year? Over a year. So Shinsuke Nakamura against Dolph Ziggler.
What's his name again?
You let me know. That was my attempt.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Same thing. The flamboyant one is what I'm going to call him from now on, because I will not be able to pronounce his name.
I just don't like that they call him the artist, and then Aiden English is the artist. There's too many artistes going around right now on SmackDown Live.
Triple H is the artist.
No, he's the architect.
Oh, that's Seth Rollins.
No, that's Seth Rollins. That's right now.
We're messing up our own bullshit. But Nakamura, I've actually... There's one match, I guess, against Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph Ziggler, he's there to hit bumps. He had more offense than I thought. Ziggler got more offense in the match. I thought they were going to show off more of his strong style, which they did. He had some great moves. I have nothing against Nakamura. Again, I haven't watched NXT. I don't know anything. I've watched one match.
He doesn't get the flamboyant nature of that performance. Some of that flamboyant character comes across kind of like how they've portrayed some of the old...
I didn't mind Goldust. He was very flamboyant.
But that was way overdone. But
exactly.
The Rico thing, because we even talked during the match, is that I think that you're worried that at one point he's going to have somebody in a turnbuckle and grab for where their cup area is, and that's how he's going to have advantage. That's not his character. But because he does all the dancing, and his two big influences are Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson, it's left you where you've got a bunch of questions, and it weirds you out. because you don't know what it is. Most other guys are talking about they either want strongman, NFL linebackers. They have that mentality. I'm coming in here as a warrior, and his thing is, no, I'm an artist. And so it leaves you with, there's too many questions in your mind what his character's supposed to be.
But if that's my only impression, that's what I see. Again, on SmackDown
and
for the last month.
That is a valid point, but the problem is that argument is actually the argument that they're given to the heel to get him booed is the same thing that you're saying is your reality. So they're telling you that being a somewhat tuned in but still casual fan is the bad choice. We didn't go into the psychology of how they look at some of the universe like that, but they want, as much as they put down the smart fans and the internet wrestling community, they do kind of depend on us to do some of the math on their storytelling doesn't work, and it leaves guys that don't have as much time or as much interest to do all the research. I watch New Japan and Ring of Honor, and I'm aware of what's going on.
I don't got time for that.
And CZW, and I watch Lucha Underground and Impact, and of course I'm watching NXT and I'm watching Raw and SmackDown. So he watches Raw and SmackDown, and
that's it.
Yeah, he's not hanging on every word, and I'm paying attention to, oh my God, did you see what the Young Bucks posted on Instagram? There's a difference, and they make us do the work. I can understand why he has questions about what's going on, but they are kind of saying, we don't respect that. That's what the heel would do.
But Ziggler is a great first opponent for Nakamura to have his debut in WWE, supposedly. His debut, again, it was about a 16-minute match. I timed it. It was fun. Great opener to the pay-per-view. I thought that was a great idea. Open with that match. What was your take on Nakamura's debut on SmackDown?
It was good. I don't think that it was the best representation of what he can do or the best introduction to fans that aren't familiar with his background. That I think that they dragged it on too much by not having him talk, or when he did, the whole thing was he would say his name was all. It does bring up the fear that probably a lot of the more casual viewers of Shinsuke have, which is he can't speak, which he can. He obviously could communicate in the ring. You can understand him when he cuts a promo, but is he going to sit out there like Kevin Owens and be able to do a whole 10-minute monologue? Absolutely not. And that scares off some people. Then you have a character that you don't understand what the point of it is. And normally the connotation when they present it like that, it's not that you're biased, it's that we're afraid of what their bias is. Just like, and we'll get that in the main event, when they give us the foreigner character versus the American babyface, you start getting worried about what are you trying to do as you're spoon feeding this hatred of things that are unfamiliar. And that's kind of how Shinsuke could be presented, but you're showing him as the good guy, so it's really confusing.
Again, it's easy to pull off in Chicago. Chicago, I think, is one of the best
it's a more tuned
cities
market
for wrestling.
And they have a lot of independent shows up there, too.
Yeah.
So you are going to have the people that are ravenous for wrestling content, and they're aware. They know who Shinsuke is. They can tell you about Okada and what Kenny Omega's doing and all that.
But I'm excited for Nakamura's future. Again, with great matches. I want to see him and Styles. I know they wrestled before in Japan at something 10, I think. Right? Is that
Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah. It's
10. Wrestle Kingdom 10.
The best example. It's not. Again, smart fans will argue with me, but the best way to present it to someone who's not in the know is it's New Japan's WrestleMania.
There we go. How he makes it so simple for me to understand. I know they wrestled before, but I want to see it in the big leagues where it matters in WWE.
The Tokyo Dome's a much bigger venue, so I would consider that the big leagues. But okay, I understand this point. They don't have as much market share.
I'm with Dolph Ziggler. There's no video. I don't know who he is.
I'll send him some links.
Yeah.
If he doesn't block me on Twitter, how about that?
A great opener then leads to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Usos versus Breezango. So Rich actually enjoyed the Tag Team Championship match more than I did.
Why did you not enjoy it? I need to ask.
I think I take it too serious. I guess I haven't paid too much attention. If I am going, my first time going for the tag team titles, I think I'll take it a little bit more seriously.
But they've done 3 weeks of vignettes that were making fun of Law and Order. I don't know if you could take it seriously.
Correct.
He came out undercover as a janitor.
Correct, and almost lost it for them at the beginning.
What do you mean he almost lost it? He held both of them at bay, him and his mop.
No, but at the mop he got drop kicked. At the grandma he almost got drop kicked.
Here's where they got me. Is he came out undercover, which was just okay. I get what you're doing. Ha ha ha. I was kind of like him. Like I don't care. When he got thrown out and Fandango was in, and then he got up on the apron as the grandma with a cane, then I knew that he understood what he was doing, and that's when I was sold. So
it was an entertaining match. I'll give it that. It was entertaining. And again, it is entertainment, so I understand that. And again, Breezango, this is the show of opportunity, and that's what they're doing, giving Breezango a chance to go for the tag titles, giving Mahal jobbers, pretty much jobbers going
they're only
for
jobbers because they're written that way. It's, as much as I disagree with some of the things, here's one of the things that Ryback brought up is the only reason they lose is because they're told to lose. It isn't a straight up competition. So if a guy's a jobber, it's because he was relegated to that. If you had brought in John Cena and had him just be fed to monsters because he had a good physique but he wasn't as big and broad-shouldered as like Batista and Brock Lesnar, he wouldn't be who he is today. They decided eventually to have him have some good matches where then his skill and his charisma prove that he should stay in that spot. That's where the rub comes with opportunities like Breezango or Jinder is what do you do when you're given the ball? The problem is a lot of guys are not given the ball. No. For varying reasons.
Just my issue is it's the push too fast. They went from jobbers to bam number one contenders without giving them a build to make them credible.
And especially considering the current state of the universe where it's so much repetitive and you have 3 months of the same match and it's just first match, then the second match the opponent wins, the third match is the rubber match. It's too much where they keep stalling and dragging something out for basically 10 weeks or more. And this one was kind of out of nowhere. You have number one contenders in 2 different departments here, and it didn't... I get why that bothers you.
Any credibility.
But that's not on them. That's on creative and bottom line, all this stuff. Them being at the top of the card and also the performers coming out and doing a comedy routine for a match for the tag team championships... Vince and the creative team are signing off on that. They didn't go into business for themselves, and he showed up undercover as a janitor, and then someone, well, what the hell is he doing?
No, but that is my issues with creative. I don't have an issue with Breezango and Tyler Breeze.
I'm just clarifying.
I don't have an issue with them. I don't really know them enough to really have an issue, except they're jobbers to me. That's all I know them. Again, I don't watch NXT. I have no idea what they did before.
The reason why that stood out to me though is when you call them jobbers, it kind of implies like the guy doesn't have potential, but it's not him that doesn't have the potential.
It's their story. I'm talking about story. Like jobbers.
I'm clarifying because I took it that way, so I imagine there's going to be other people.
No, because jobbers. That's the storyline. Is that they're jobbers? They lose all the time.
Yeah.
Like again, that's just a storyline and creative having them, and they've done the files. I thought that they were funny. So again, it makes sense that he would come out as undercover. Just if it's my opportunity to get a title shot, I would take it rather more serious. But it's part of the story. It's entertainment. It was fun.
But if they were here's the counter argument on that one from creative. If they weren't scheduled to have the titles, but this was a time for them to have a spotlight, did you not just get them over with a portion of the crowd that didn't care? Because I'll be honest, I liked both of them in NXT, but since they've been on the main roster, I haven't really cared about either one of them. Tonight made me where when they come on, and the last 3 weeks of those vignettes of the fashion files, I'm paying more attention to them. And there is something to be said for absolutely. You don't have to have the belt for me to cheer for you or for me to buy a ticket. So they did kind of achieve what they needed to do.
I'm for it. Like again, I've actually really enjoyed them the last month. Ever since they did the show. They got more, give them the opportunity. But I don't think they should have gotten the opportunity as a title shot to have this opportunity, such as with the New Day. They didn't start the New Day gimmick again when they first started, and it started to get over. They didn't really put them in a title shot after that. Oh, let's see if the gimmick. No, let it build a little bit. Breezango, let's let this new gimmick that they have. They've been doing the fashion, but they're filming the fashion files. Yeah. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Have them build on the mid card. Have them do that in the mid card, then have them build end zone casts.
Well, okay.
So then they have their little stick.
Again,
built.
I think it's when you notice them is where you're remembering this. Because they've been handing out tickets to people in matches and stuff for a couple of months before these vignettes. So that's at least a 3-month build to this. And to you, you're only counting the last month because they've only been number one contenders for a month, but that is the normal routine, is that you're only in between the shows.
No, but
they have been building this fashion police thing inside of Breezango, which was separate. They have specialized and gave them a different character arc and speciality that nobody else on the roster is doing. That did shine a spotlight, and it has taken them 3 months to get to where they were number one contenders.
But if you do that and if you continue to lose, I don't take your character serious.
They didn't continue to lose. They only lost in the championship because they did win the opportunity. They were losing a little bit, but they were, a lot of times it was multi-tag team matches. Because remember, they were doing all that stuff to keep the heat off of American Alpha? Right? Because they didn't want them to have... They wanted them to be strong, so they didn't want them to have just a regular kind of loss. So they either beat 3 teams in one match that was a 4-way.
I don't ever remember them winning at all.
No, but they didn't. But they became the number one contenders because they had a win. I get it that it seems weird, but they did have a win to get that. They weren't just... There was no magic wand that said you're number one contenders.
They
did win a match.
Well, that's like we'll get to later about Mahal. Mojo and Jinder Mahal were both in the number one contenders match that did not deserve to be in them. We'll get there later. Next up, Sami Zayn against Baron Corbin, the Lone Wolf. I was actually wrong. I thought Baron Corbin was going to win. I thought they're going to give him that push. Yeah. But Sami Zayn, the underdog, pulls out the W. I don't know what they're doing with Baron Corbin or Sami Zayn moving forward. I think they're just stuck in limbo. I thought they were going to push Baron Corbin to be that next one to go against Randy Orton for the title over the summer. But I have no idea what the next steps are with these two.
It's 50-50 booking. You'll have a repeat match in a month, and Baron will get the win, or he's going to trounce Sammy for the next 3 or 4 weeks on SmackDown, and then we'll see what happens at the blow-off match. Or it'll be the continuation, and it's, like I said, it's going to be a 3-month routine. They're just holding the spot, and let's be honest though, a lot of your Baron ideas where you're planning for SummerSlam, but
I thought it'd be for Money in the Bank.
Yeah, but the Jinder and Randy thing is not done. So Money in the Bank's the next one, right?
Yeah, I believe for SmackDown is Money in the Bank.
So already we couldn't have had Baron, so that's probably part of it, is that they need to keep those two in something because Randy and Jinder's not finished, so you need to keep that going.
Well, I've never had Orton Mahal, but that's a different topic.
No, I'm going with what we
know
they're
doing,
now
what they're
at the
doing.
end, what their plans were, at least through tonight, so
yeah.
You can now work it backwards, reverse engineer.
Well, not reverse, but at the time, again, going through the weeks.
Oh, I did too. I figured.
Now, in hindsight, knowing how the event ended, of course.
Okay, but if Baron had won the championship, now it's not the same problem as like Jinder or
But Baron has been in main events in SmackDown. They've been building. And
I said it's not the same thing.
Yeah, not even.
But do you think that he's over as a star where he should be carrying the brand?
But the one thing I do agree is they're trying to build new stars. I understand Breezango. Hopefully this gets over, and such as the New Day, they become big. We need new stars in wrestling.
It could.
It's just don't push it too fast. They're now forcing it as a big push.
But then again, how many times would we have been on here and we've spent 15 or 20 minutes talking about Jinder and Breezango, and that's 20, we're not even done with it. We're going to continue referring to this because it is shocking. It is standing out in our minds. That is a spotlight. That is making us care about them. This time, a month or two ago, we didn't even notice if they had been on the card or not.
Thought they're kickoff material.
But now they've done something with them. I actually think there was some
Breezango. They've done something with Breezango. We'll get to that. We're jumping ahead. It looks like we'll probably get the rest of the main event done before we get there. But great for Sami Zayn. Rich is a big Sami Zayn fan. I like him as well. He'll never be a world champion. It's going to take a lot to push through that ceiling for that to happen. I do think he's the Daniel Bryan. He's going to need a Daniel Bryan-esque takeover.
But the Daniel
for
Bryan,
him.
The Daniel Bryan takeover was not what they intended. They're now retroactively going back and taking credit for bad booking decisions.
Yeah, it was terrible booking.
His charisma and his work rate got him over despite how bad that stuff was. You know what? He's Cesaro. If you want to look at who is being booked like Daniel Bryan, Cesaro. You keep giving him garbage and he keeps turning it into something great.
That's very true.
Case in point. No offense, But does anybody give a crap about Sheamus' character? And yet, we're watching Cesaro right now going, oh shit, they're both heels now. Oh, they got this new blood. And it's not like we were bored with them when they made the switch to heels. That is, they turn, lemons into lemonade. They know what they're doing. But they're never going to give him the chance, but because they're not in the same situation like with the CM Punk and all that kind of stuff where you have to scramble and now we put the belt on him.
But then again, I never said Jinder Mahal would ever be champion. I probably would say that every day for the last 5 years, how long I've known him. He would never be champion.
That's a fair estimation, yeah.
So, who the fuck knows what's going to happen moving forward?
Although, I've skipped spoilers up until this point, and he just gave you the whole main event, but okay.
So, seriously, what the fuck? But we'll get into that. Next up, 6-woman tag team match. We had Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina against Naomi, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. So Rich and I was having a bet of who's going to come out last, Charlotte or Naomi. We were both wrong.
Yeah, we both thought that Charlotte would come out last.
We thought Charlotte would come out last, but somehow this entire night,
no, and we
champions came out last the way it should be.
They actually, and they were pretty consistent with trying to put the importance on belts. They still gave you the pee break before the main event. No offense. That's just kind of how it's seen because the match wasn't made until last Tuesday, so that's for the pee break match, which was Harper and Rowan's. We'll get there.
Harper and Rowan's, yeah. We're getting out the entire event.
I didn't want to denigrate the women's effort and make it,
We're giving out
always been referred to the women's match as that
entire event.
Shouldn't been. It's just the pacing. That's all it was.
Some of this match was sloppy. Some was entertaining. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I predicted the heels would win, but I thought Ellsworth was actually going to interfere and Becky Lynch would take the fall for Carmella because it's going to.
We got to get through Money in the Bank and then build that.
Because it's going to set up the main event of SummerSlam: Becky Lynch versus Ellsworth, the main event of SummerSlam.
And the undercard is Naomi versus Charlotte, who will have by that time.
No, the undercard is Lesnar. Finn is the undercard. To Ellsworth.
The undercard from the underground.
Yeah.
Because it was in the toilet. That's so horrible. Don't feed the demon to Brock. Please.
But there'll be Extreme Rules in 2 weeks. We'll talk about who's going to be fed to Lesnar for his year-long reign.
Yeah, he's got to be hungry. He's been hibernating so long.
Yeah. Well, you have Sable. He has enough to eat. So that's a good thing.
I'm not going to.
I love Sable. I always will.
I did too 15 years ago.
I still do. She looks incredible, especially now.
Lately.
What did you think of the 6-woman? I saw her in the UFC. She was in the ring when Lesnar won. Fair. Yeah, last July.
Yeah.
When he got busted for taking performance enhancements.
That didn't happen on WWE TV. I don't think we counted, do we?
Oh, Randy Orton. He brought it up and dropped the mic.
Oh, he did, yeah. Fair enough.
He dropped it. 6-woman tag team match. What did you think?
Yeah, it was sloppy and useless. I don't think it did anything for anybody. I even brought it up during the match. I think that considering that they brought in 2 girls to the division at the same time, that they should have just switched them and it would have been the same thing.
Which 2? What do you think they should have
Tamina would be teamed up with Naomi again and Becky Lynch, and Charlotte goes with Natty and with Carmella and Ellsworth. I think that would have made more sense as the more natural fit. It's kind of what it sounds like they want Charlotte's role to be. It makes sense that they're the newbies, so she hasn't earned her position. Just because you were something on Raw doesn't mean that you're next in line for the title belts. Natty backs her up because she can vouch for how much of a badass Charlotte is because, they've had their wars, but if there's anybody I respect for your work rate, it would be you, Charlotte. And I've been going through this stuff where Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan won't give me my opportunity against Naomi. They keep putting me in all these, 8-woman matches to determine a number 1 contender. So I'm going to get your back. And Carmella comes out, and that makes the perfect sense why they would be aligned. It's almost the same story they did, except there's logic involved now as opposed to circumstance. So
I think Tamina is the same as Charlotte, where I don't think they will be great faces, or I don't think Tamina is even capable.
But because of the team bad connection, at least I would go, she's backing up her girl. Sense. And she stands there as the enforcer, and Naomi is the personality, and as long as Tamina goes along with her, she gets the rub of, you're Naomi's friend, so we're cool with Naomi, so we're cool with you. right now, the problem we're having with Charlotte is we're all waiting for her to backstab somebody, and when it doesn't happen, we go, well, that shocked me. But not in an exciting, I can't wait to see what happens way, more of a, what the fuck was that about kind of way. And I don't think that that's effective. That's 50-50 booking. It's not good.
But Becky Lynch did tap out to the greatest move of all wrestling, the sharpshooter, to Natalya. It looked like Natalya was having a wardrobe malfunction a little bit. Of course, Rich is the one who points that out towards the back, who's looked like he was tearing up a little bit. I don't take that close of a look at Natalya.
I wasn't trying to find something. I just noticed.
Where does the SmackDown Women's Division go from here?
I don't know. They're in serious trouble, if you ask me. I think that they're just too repetitive, and if you ask me, they're falling back on a lot of the problems that they didn't have at first on Raw, and now Raw's having the same issue. Is they just keep repeating the same match.
Well, you only have 6 women in the division.
Whose fault is that? Asuka's ready to move up. They just don't want to take her out of NXT, which I understand. They don't have. They're not as comfortable with the talent pool down there for the women's division. Asuka.
Oh.
So
I'll look her up. I'll do a Google search or YouTube. Look up some matches, I guess.
She's beaten Goldberg's undefeated streak, so. And it's legit, not worked. So. I shouldn't say. It's not a worked number. How about that? They were worked matches.
Goldberg was legit. That was legit. I saw every single match. They have them on YouTube. They have them. It is real.
All 173?
When does Charlotte turn on Naomi?
Money in the Bank.
To set up their match for SummerSlam.
Yeah. And that's also where that'll lead to. And I would assume it'll be after the match. It would make sense if Ellsworth gets involved, Becky loses, and then that sets up their little feud. Because it does make sense that it's Becky versus Ellsworth or Becky versus Carmella, and Ellsworth is on a pole or whatever Vince Russo kind of
that sounds fun.
You want to do. And then you also, and that'd be a pre-show match, I would assume. And you do Charlotte versus Naomi because I've been stuck with a bunch of losers. I thought that I could be a fan favorite, but you guys don't know what you're doing. It still leaves it where her and Becky could be on good terms because Becky's over here, but Charlotte does you're dragging me down. You don't deserve that title. You don't deserve my loyalty. Turns on her after they lose, and
I'm down. We'll see. Again, there's a lot of limbo going on with the SmackDown roster. A lot of questions. And then probably be Charlotte turning on. We'll see what direction they go. The next match, United States Championship match. Kevin Owens, the face of America.
Yes, he is.
Which is the face that runs the place. AJ style.
The two-face match.
As Rich said, 2 faces going off against each other. To me, it was the match of the night. But again, going in, it was the automatic match of the night. They'll hold off on Nakamura a little bit, have him build up. But Styles and Owens, I actually enjoyed it. And I thought it was I guess I'll get into the main event. After this match ended, I knew how the main event was going to end.
That's true, yeah. He did.
We'll get into that. But Styles and Owens, it's a way to get them out of the title scene. We'll have this feud. I knew it wasn't going to end cleanly, not in their first match. They'll have a rematch at Money in the Bank.
And I can't believe that in that replay they still are showing AJ putting the cord over his foot. Which I'm sure he was.
What are you talking about?
He was trying to remove the cord from his foot, not making sure.
Yeah, he was trying to remove it
and be trapped.
Yeah, he was trying to remove it. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't show that stuff. Just like you don't cut into the middle of the post show and see a ref giving a blood pact to Roman Reigns, but they keep showing that. So.
Because I actually wanted this match to end the night with the pay-per-view, but after this finish, hell no, I completely understand why they did not end with this match. But I think they have great chemistry.
Yeah.
With Owens and Styles. I know they wrestled before last year, I believe, on Raw. They wrestled once.
During that build-up with the Jericho stuff, because they were still super best friends at that time. So
best friends in the whole wide world. And AJ Styles is, in my opinion, the best in the world.
I'd agree with that.
In WWE, again, that is my world of wrestling. That's my world of wrestling. Anything outside, I have no idea what's happening.
And I'm not the expert, but in my opinion, yes, considering all those other leagues, I do think that he is. He's not being utilized 100%, but still, his 75% is still better than most people's 110%.
He did have a great title reign.
He did.
And they're making him busy out. Again, him and Shane McMahon at Mania, I understand
He still did something with that match, and we weren't expecting much, and we were still doing the, but AJ's going to be awesome. We still left it going, no, that was pretty good. So that's, again, his 75% better than most people's 110.
Do you think this will end at SummerSlam or at Money in the Bank? How long is this feud going to continue?
Depends on what they do with the world title picture. I'll be honest.
That's a fair enough answer of what they do. They need AJ Styles to stay out of the picture a little bit, so have this feud. And Owens on Talking Smack.
You need Owens out of that picture too, and Owens was teasing that that's going to be one of his priorities.
On Talking Smack after, which I love Kevin Owens, and he was amazing on Talking Smack, just talking bullshit,
He's
coming back
everywhere. I don't know why you would phrase it like that. I don't know what's wrong with you. Do you not watch what he does? I mean, every time he's on screen, he's captivating. He's amazing. He's breakthrough artist.
The best.
I would expect more out of someone like you. I mean, can you not do your research just a little bit?
Do my research. Asking questions I already know the answer to.
No, stop. If you're going to host this show, I'd expect you to do your research. So the least you could do is come here prepared and not denigrate someone with your passive-aggressive little comments of false praise. He's the United States champion. I think that you should bow down to the man.
I should. What was I thinking? That was a great, actually. Yeah, you just saw Talking Smack right here. You just saw it of what Kevin Owens did.
No, I only stormed off once. And
and coming back, yeah. Kevin Owens, I think, is brilliant of how he sells. He understands the business. You can understand he loves the business, and I'm a big fan. Yeah. Probably top 3 right now on the roster is Kevin Owens, and AJ Styles is one of my top 3. So I was very excited for this match. I think they delivered. I'm excited for the future. I'm okay with the non-clean finish. Kevin Owens winning with a count out and continue on the feud throughout the summer. And AJ Styles, everything he touches, it's going to be an incredible match.
And they were making everything counted. Everything had a reason of why they did it. That's true psychology.
So that match was brilliant. And then it goes to Rich's piss match. Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan.
I'm not trying to put him down. It's they didn't give it any kind of build. There was no excitement to it. The crowd kind of showed.
Crowd was dead. They had no reaction.
Which is funny because they got their win back for the main event, no problem. So
surprising. I
think that this false idea that people get tired, I get that, but it's never stopped me from cheering when I wanted to cheer. So I think that it's.
I'll bring that to WrestleMania. People get tired.
They do, but we still cared. At the end, we were soldiering on. I remember I was like ready to call out the next day. I was in so much pain after that marathon from 32. That 9.5 hour fucking travesty, but still, we were ready. If it's booked correctly, you can maintain. It's an endurance thing.
When was the last time they booked WrestleMania correctly?
Probably never. X7 probably.
Even people didn't even agree with that. Steve Austin.
That's true.
Turning here.
That's true. It made sense in the moment. The next night, it was like a clusterfuck. Yeah, absolutely.
Luke Harper, he's one of the ones I think he's stuck in the mid card. I think he had a great role before Mania when he was actually feuding. He put on great matches with AJ Styles, with Randy Orton, but they didn't have anything for him
he got
at
lost
Mania.
In the shuffle, especially with the shakeup.
And I think he's a great big man. Put on some good matches.
To be honest, they probably should have traded him to Raw with Bray, and they should have continued that feud. Or at least have him as how Samoa Joe has been interrupting Rollins to continue their feud, and now he's in that 5-man. If they could have made it a 6-man match for the number 1 contendership, and it's basically Bray and Harper eliminate each other, and Rollins and Samoa Joe eliminate each other, and then it's Roman versus Finn, which is kind of a money thing, and you could build on that for a couple months if you needed to. That could even be your SummerSlam if for some reason you want to push back Brock's return, because it's not like the 30-day rule means shit anymore. So
yeah, should vacate it. What happened? You have to defend it.
Jack Tunney's been dead for decades, so nobody gives a shit anymore.
Too soon.
That's the second too soon on the death of someone in the industry tonight for me. First the Warrior, and now this one.
Did the Warrior. But due to that, again, this is off topic, but the 30-day rule, I don't know if you remember, you actually made a great point of how Brock Lesnar is getting away with the 30-day rule. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Who's the advocate? Who does he Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I know who.
Yeah.
Who represents him, yes.
Yeah. So he came up again behind the scenes storyline that Paul Heyman was able to negotiate his way for his client, the Beast, to not have to go with the 30-day rule. Do you remember this?
I don't. I apologize. What?
I was trying to give you credit. I think it was at the last pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's been like 3 or 4 weeks since we had this discussion. We have had some big deals, which I was gonna talk about. My buddy here just got married a couple weeks ago, which I don't know if you're aware. We didn't get to talk, but I discussed this with Doug and Nick. Do you understand that you got married by the same pastor as Renee and Dean Ambrose? Pastor Pete was the one who did their ceremony too.
Wait a minute, what?
Pastor Pete that officiated your wedding is the same gentleman that was called upon to officiate Renee Young and Dean Ambrose's marriage a couple months ago.
I had no idea.
Congratulations, Mazel Tov. That's true.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Dude, who are you talking to? Of course I know.
How do you know that Pete was the one who...
He is. I swear to God. I'll look it up for you and prove it to you.
Yeah, I'm going to need proof. But yeah, my officiant called out sick.
And at the last minute...
So the backup was Pete.
Yeah.
Pastor Pete, who was incredible, by the way. He was amazing.
He's the #1 rated on Yelp, which, if you listen to Renee Young's story, is exactly why they picked him. And he was available 24/7 because he's dedicated to what he does, which shown in the way that he did a wonderful ceremony. He
15 minutes before
he was a fun guy. He was entertaining. He was a nice guy, playful yet respectful. It was good.
Wow, look at that.
Congratulations.
Breaking news.
We didn't have a time to talk about it because he had some other things going on, as you can imagine, on his wedding day. So.
Yeah, married day and gone to Hawaii.
And there's only so many nerds that's going to care. Like, if I got up during my speech, it's like, just so you know, you and Dean Ambrose are like marriage buddies now. Nobody would care. Me and him would high five, and that was
exactly. That's all that matters is you. I'm going to do some research on that and see. That is crazy.
So we get a chance, I'll show you.
Now.